Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube episode review and discussion. I am Majo Rage, and I am joined by two of the finest Trekkies and gentlemen that I have the pleasure of knowing. To my right is Zam. How are you this evening, sir?
Oh, I'm fine. And when it comes to Star Trek, this is the way.
And below us is Cousin Cheeto. How are you this evening?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be here.
So, big episode this week, a lot to break down. I guess we'll do some general impressions and then jump right to it. Um, I felt that this was a marked improvement to the past couple of weeks, and lots of great cat and mouse reminiscent of the classics, great character development, and just wonderful acting. Just this is the sort of scenes I've been wanting out of the show, these moments between the characters. What did you gentlemen think? Starting with you, Zam.
Well, immediately, well, not immediately, sorry, but once we got the revelations and the twist, my mind immediately went to Picard season 3, Secret Invasion, because because obviously we're getting callbacks to the Dominion War and stuff like that, which is great because for a lot of people that was fundamental Star Trek, but but the changelings are the scrolls of Star Trek, aren't they? And uh,
Okay, first off, the
I
scrolls
don't
are the
the
changelings of
change.
Marvel.
Yeah, okay, fine, fair enough. But I do feel, ironically, with Secret Invasion just around the corner, that this is I'm getting that vibe even from this. Not knowing who your enemies are, who your allies are, because there's changelings now, and if they've infiltrated Starfleet, then they could be anybody, and I'm finding that quite fascinating at this moment in time. And so immediately I was getting that vibe of Secret Invasion. So it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
where we go forward in this. Okay, Cheeto, on to you, mate.
I'm going to say this very quickly. Oh my god! 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 They're doing the thing. Like, I am so incredibly stoked right now. It's not even funny.
Knew you would be. Was
I
so ready for this
this
excitement out of you.
this is like it makes sense though. Like you would think that all the changelings would be on the same page. Everything like no the all all the changelings would not be on the same page. There was discourse between the changelings. Even after the Dominion War ended. So I really feel like that this is definitely something that is due in the Star Trek universe. I think it is absolutely fantastic that they're bringing it in Picard because I love the crossover shit where it's like, okay, we're taking something from DS9 and we're putting it into next gen,
Hmm.
avenue.
And we've
Just
got
like
a
I loved having 7 of 9 in season 1 and season 2,
took
like
the words
something
right
from the
out of my mouth.
Voyager lane coming to the next gen level. Honestly wouldn't mind if if we had some kind of like DS9 sequel show. I don't know, like, well, no, I've always talked about like the Captain Kim show. Harry Kim finally gets his captaincy. Like have something from next gen show up on there. Like something like that. But I really feel like that this is a stellar step in the right direction. I love the fact that changelings are involved. I don't know. That's really, I mean, and truth be told, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it, and I know everyone's going to hate me for saying it, but this episode of Star Trek Picard much better than the Wrath of Khan. I'm sorry, much better, hands down. I'm not a huge fan of the Wrath of Khan. I think it's a good Star Trek movie, but
Tyler is gonna swear you off, sir.
that's fine. So, Wrath of Khan is not even my favorite TOS era movie or TMP era movie. Like it's not. Like, I mean, Star Trek 6 all the way. And as you can tell, what was involved in that? Politics and shady business.
Intrigue.
This is my jam, baby. I love these political thriller type things.
Look what fucking Vance has said. Unsubscribe.
Subscribed.
Look what you done with blasphemy, man. Everybody
Well-
loves Star Trek. Look, the fact that Well, regarding Star Trek 2, like I can understand it not being your favorite, but do you think it's not all that? I mean, that's just a disservice
I
to
never
a
said
great
it
movie.
wasn't all that. I never said it was bad. I like Star Trek 3, I like Star Trek 4, and I like Star Trek 6 better than it. So
Okay, I mean, I always looked at Star Trek 2 and 3 to be very similar movies, personally. But fair enough. Okay, sorry, so where were you, Mage?
No, I guess we'll get this show on the road. This episode is part 3 of season 3 of Picard. It's called 17 Seconds, and we'll find out why not too long. We open on the bridge. The Titan can't shake the Shrike. In sick bay, injured crewman, he tells Jack that this is his fault. Beverly holds back Jack, who seemed about to get in a confrontation over it, and says they're going to be needed, foreshadowing them helping in sickbay throughout the episode. Back on the bridge, they're losing visuals due to going deeper into the nebula. Captain Shaw, he hilariously says to send somebody to the back window to watch the stern. They lose warp power. Would go deeper into the nebula and lose the Shrike and all visuals. We get the credits. What did you guys think of the cold open this week? Uh, Captain Shaw is growing on me. What did you guys? Uh, has he grown on you at all, Zam?
Yeah, I guess. Look, I never disliked him. Because I think it's always good to have characters who have a different point of view of things.
Mm-hmm.
But so some of his ways of captaining his ship was quite interesting. I almost feel like the way he does captain his starship, that he's never been in an encounter before at times. But nevertheless, I did enjoy some of the ideas that he came up with, like getting people to look at the back of the hull to see if anybody's coming just by looking out of a fucking window. That's unusual, but fair enough.
It goes back to
And
ancient sailing, having people to watch on those places. It's
yeah,
old school.
yeah, in the crow's nest and stuff. Yeah, and all of that. Yeah, it was an, I mean, like, shenanigans have begun, and is the cat and mouse chase is on, and it pretty much was like that throughout this episode. So
Great
yeah.
stuff. Cheeto?
Shaw's doing good. I mean, they definitely, I don't want to say they manufactured, but they definitely put Shaw's worst foot forward on purpose so we would not like him. Because
Absolutely.
at the dinner table and everything, like they did it on purpose. Like looking at Shaw now versus Shaw like in episode 1, it was a bit, in my opinion, it was a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Like if they so yeah, Shaw is growing on me. They definitely intentionally put his worst foot forward. But he's growing. I mean, I don't think he's necessary. And even I think in the first episode, didn't we say like he's not wrong? Like, he's a
No.
dick, but he's not wrong.
Yeah, we touched on that yet last week as well. Definitely, they cut a hardcore heel promo for him in episode 1.
For sure. Just a quick comment here. I saw Ensign Foster sabotage coming when he was no longer in duty, looking at the window of the Shriek as inexplicably found the Titan. Yeah, I guess so.
There was it was kind of odd. They sold him as being off the whole episode, but still, that's an early point to make a prediction. I've actually caught an Easter egg, and I'm hoping to see if Daniel Vance caught it too. It comes during the flashback after the credits to Riker and Picard celebrating the birth of Riker's first child, his son Thaddeus, at Guinan's bar. In the background, there's a sign for Arcanus Lager, which, Cheeto, you might remember hearing that system mentioned a lot in Deep Space Nine, since it was close to Bajoran space.
I think so. What was it called again?
Arcanus.
Yeah. I always get that in the Intaka system always confused.
So Riker tells the story of Thaddeus's birth and him having to make his way to sick bay, and the turbo lift ride being the longest 17 seconds of his life. Hey, that's the title.
Can I stop right there really quick though?
Yes.
Because this is one of, now this is not a perfect episode. I love what they're doing this season, but this episode did have one or two problems that I thought was really stupid. The 17 seconds thing was like, okay, so we're now going to have Picard in a turbo lift sometime, having to go down. Something's going to happen to Jack, and he's going to be taking, and it's going to be the 17 seconds for Picard.
The foreshadowing was way too heavy-handed
It
here.
really was. And I mean, if it was just like a story, but just the way that they did it, it was like everything was great in that scene. Like Jonathan Frakes is a fucking superstar.
Oh, he's
Still.
carrying this show. His back's got to be in serious pain.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Riker maneuver is now carrying the show. You know, like
Did you see the meme where he sat on the consoles of the Helios and broke the glass?
no.
Yeah, he Riker maneuvered right on to breaking them.
Oh, nice. But it was a bit heavy-handed, and you know the title of the episode is 17 seconds, and I'm like, okay, so sometime this episode we're gonna see Picard in a turbo lift for 17 seconds. You know, all they needed is when Picard stepped on that turbo lift later on in the episode for them to actually have a timer going off. You know, like
24
1,
style.
2, 3. Yeah, it's like so. Anyway, that was just a little nitpick that kind of bugged me about this episode, but keep going.
Okay. As the only father here, though, what do you think about like Riker's general comments on fatherhood?
I mean, they were. Is Jonathan Frakes is a father, right? I really felt like
in real life.
In real life, I believe so, isn't he?
Probably more than likely.
I mean, he's probably a grandpa at this point. Sorry, Jonathan Frakes, but if he is,
he's
if he's had kids, he probably has grandkids at this point. But
he's in the 70s, so it makes sense if he is.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it felt really genuine. And if he doesn't have kids, more power to him because he sold that scene like a freaking rock star. Great.
Yeah.
It is definitely one of the highlights of the episode. As I said, it's a combination of things that I didn't like about the heavy-handedness of, as I said, the title and everything else like that. Like, like I saw somebody on Twitter say that this episode should have just been called Nebula and not doing the 17 seconds thing, because at least it would have been less heavy-handed about the 17 seconds thing, and it could have been implied rather than the crux of the episode. You know what I mean?
Right.
But no, the scene was great, and honestly, Patrick Stewart he's fine for me. I can't say that I enjoy his acting a lot anymore. But I love the man for who he is and what he's done. But like anymore, his acting is just kind of old man, like even in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, other stuff that he's done recently. It's just kind of like, I'm old Patrick Stewart.
The vigor isn't there anymore, and how could it be at his age?
And as I said, I respect the man completely. I'm not shitting on. I mean, he's earned it. If he went, and I'm not saying he phoned it in, but like, I don't think he has to work as hard. Jonathan Frakes, he worked the shit out of this scene, and I really liked it.
I mean, do you think it was because he feels compelled to try to live up to Patrick Stewart's, caliber? And,
maybe, but this episode was directed by Jonathan Frakes, so I
didn't catch that.
Yeah, so this episode was directed by Jonathan Frakes, so I really feel like he was really trying to channel it, because let's be real, outside of Star Trek and directing on Star Trek, what has Jonathan Frakes done? Like I think he's in
Believe It or Not.
Huh?
Ripley's
Believe It or Not. And honestly, like that's to the detriment of American cinema, like, because Jonathan Frakes was always great. I don't know why he never landed anywhere else to do anything.
I'm sure he must have done something we just don't realize. He's a fantastic director. Honestly, he's a fantastic director. I'll be shocked.
I think he's done a lot of television directing, but I mean,
exactly. That's what I mean. Like in other shows. I mean, obviously he's been involved in everything Star Trek, but I'm sure he's been involved in other stuff too. I'll be shocked if he hasn't.
No, I mean, he has done other things other than He has done other things other than Star Trek. I know that, but I'm just saying we don't hear about it really like at all. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but he's directing this episode, so it's like I feel like he's got a vested interest in this episode. And I mean, look at First Contact. Look at I don't think he directed any
episodes of the other series that he directed are always great.
I say some of the best episodes of was it Enterprise were really good.
Right.
LeVar Burton directed some episodes of Enterprise that were
Yes.
fantastic. So yeah. Anyway, sorry. So tangent over. Sorry.
No, we need to do a whole video about Defense of Enterprise, me and you.
I hated Troy in this episode. She reminded me much of Laxana. Now, personally, I'm starting to see more of Maria Sirtis showing her true character, and we're seeing less of Deanna Troy, if you know what I mean, because she's very, very boisterous now, Deanna Troy, when she used to be not like that at all. I mean, even when she came out of her shell to a degree, she still was Deanna Troy, and now she's Maria fucking Sirtis. And Maria Sirtis, if anybody knows about her, she's very boisterous. So that's how I saw it personally when we saw that little clip of her. And you know what? At the same time, Daniel Barnes, she was fucking hardly in the episode, man. It's not even worth even going on about. Hello, Jim. Hope your puppies are doing great.
So do you guys want the quick list of things that Jonathan Frakes has directed besides Star Trek that we might know? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 1 episode, King and Maxwell 1 episode, Switched at Birth 2 episodes, Falling Skies 3 episode, Finding Carter 2 episodes, Hit the Floor 4 episodes, Powers 1 episode, NCIS Los Angeles 6 episodes, Librarians 10 episode, The Arrangement, I don't know what that TV series that is, 1 episode, The Gifted 1 episode, Orville 2 episodes, Astronauts 2 episodes, and then the rest. He is obviously on there for Star Trek Discovery, Picard, Enterprise, but he was the director of Insurrection. Did he?
Dude, he directed all of them.
No, he didn't. He didn't direct Nemesis. That's for damn sure.
Really?
I just did not know he directed Insurrection. I forgot about that. Well, I didn't mind. I didn't mind Insurrection. I didn't think it was bad. I know it's kind of like the odd person out, but
Insurrection always felt like a glorified television episode. It didn't feel like a movie, if you know what I mean.
It felt like a TV movie, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, some of those movies are some of the best ones in my opinion. As I said, I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it. Anyway. So, he has done directing things outside, but we never hear about it. He doesn't do, and that's what I'm saying. Like it, I every episode that he does of Voyager, Enterprise, DS9, if it's directed by Jonathan Frakes, it's got a stamp of good on it. I'm sorry. Like I don't think there's a single Jonathan Frakes directed episode of Star Trek or even outside of Star Trek that has, that doesn't have that at least a above average stamp on it.
Very cinematic his episodes are. So yeah, for sure.
So back in the present, they have 2 hours until they'll have warp again. The nebula has apparently biological and electrical signals. LaForge and the other people who've been on watch for 36 hours are given breaks, and Sydney goes to check on 7 of 9. And they have a touching little scene where Sydney talks about, people not wanting her to be a pilot, her having a tough time making friends like her father, but sticking by friends that they do make.
Was it really that the fact that because I like the way in these sort of Star Trek shows, like because it's the people we tend to watch on the television shows, they immediately become legends and gods of Starfleet and stuff like that. My dad's the greatest engineer of all time, and so it sucks that people were really pissed off that I decided to become a fucking pilot, So yeah, all of that sort of stuff. Like you go, girl. You're fucking still a little forge. If you're a fucking pilot, there's nothing wrong in that. Yeah, I'm sure she would be. And you know what? If I recall correctly, LaForge started off as a pilot, didn't he? So
In
let's not,
he was a
season 1, he was
helmsman.
at the helm. Yep.
yeah. So let's not forget that.
I mean, I
Daniel,
do. Oh, I do like that fact, though. I mean, that they kind of subverge that trope. Like, I don't mind that LaForge is in here, but every 5 minutes when she has to like remind us that she's my dad's Geordie LaForge, like, we get
yeah,
it. Your last name is LaForge. We
yeah,
understand.
fucking worse than Megan McCain right now. The pulses in the nebula reminded me of how the Borg hunted for the Enterprise when Picard tried to hide on their first encounter. Well, hiding in nebulas seemed to be a staple trope in Star Trek, just generally. Yeah,
But I
so-
mean, you can like, but it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I don't think it's a nebula. They said it's a singular. They said it's like an anomaly.
whatever,
so it's
man. It's
technically
fucking
not a nebula.
clouds in space.
Clouds in
You know,
space. You are correct. But I mean, here's the thing. It's like, it's not like they do it all the time. Like, just because they've done it once and just because they did it once or twice, like they did what Wrath of Khan, and then in an episode of TNG, like
God knows, but it does feel. I mean, they might have done it a couple more times, but within television shows that it's hard to remember about. But I just feel like this is something we see in Star Trek. You know, it does seem to be a bit tropey.
I think they might have done it on Voyager.
well, that's Voyager.
Yeah.
Who cares about Voyager?
Well, they've. Okay. Anyway.
Sam, I'm ripping on his Captain Mommy
Yep.
ship.
I can't even right now. So in sick bay, the Trill Doctor does not want Beverly's help. She's probably going to end up regretting that. Picard comes to talk to Beverly, and we get this amazing scene between the two of them where Gates McFadden hits a damn home run here.
And
Go ahead.
I was just and to walk back my previous comment, this is actually the first time in Star Trek Picard I feel that I felt Picard, like that Patrick Stewart was actually doing more acting than just, as I said, being old man Picard. Because up to this point, and I knew I was going to walk this comment back when I said it earlier, but the truth is that up to that point, I kind of felt like Patrick Stewart was just kind of doing the Patrick Stewart old man, old man thing. This scene, he actually Beverly did too, but like Patrick Stewart actually felt like he was like stretching his legs and making a good run about it. You know what I mean?
Felt like the golden age of TNG of 3 through 5, where he was just always knocking it out of the park.
I honestly don't agree. I actually feel like this is very far from TNG.
Well, I mean, it's the quality of acting.
or
is that
okay, yeah.
So that kind of energy that Picard has,
Yeah,
and in commandness, and not, old man like you've been saying.
Just a couple of comments here.
Sure.
Daniel Voss said we need a Star Trek show ranking on the community page to settle this argument until it comes up again. Okie dokie, you're damn right. Get that Reddit page going. And Jim was saying, yay, puppies. When people say puppies, I keep thinking of fucking the King Jerry Lawler. Are fine and always getting into things. I watched Picard twice and it was great. Can't wait till next week's episode. Yeah, me and you too. I can't wait for it, man. All right.
puppies.
So there's a lot of exposition in that scene, and I mean,
I was confused by it, by the way. Please run through it. But I have to say, I thought, hold on, what are we talking about here? Just give me some, like, how old is Jack? When were you fucking? Was it just after Nemesis? Was it just before? I mean, was it during First Contact? Because like she's bringing up all these particular periods. I'm thinking,
has to
what was
be
that one?
after Nemesis, because she's mentioning Praetor's attacking Picard and Romulan refugees and stuff. So,
Jack's 22. Jack looks like he's 32. How can he be 22?
That is a big point that I was going to bring up later. Like they really should have hired a younger actor. I'm sorry. Like, he does look like he's 32, and Zam is 100% correct. And I get it. The kid looks like Tom Hardy, and that's what they were going for. They wanted someone that looked like a younger-ish Tom Hardy. But I mean, how old is the actor? What's the actor's name? I'm gonna look it up. I don't even know how old the actor is.
Look him up. Just put in Star Trek Picard. Yeah, you'll figure it out. The scene where Beverly mentions leaving the Enterprise is a deleted scene from Nemesis. She leaves to run Starfleet Medical, and but she got the bun in the oven by then. You know, I mean, was she
But
cool seeing? Was she cool seeing Picard? Flirting around with that lady in Insurrection. And all of that. I mean, Picard fucked around with a few women during the course of the Star Trek series as well. And was she like okay? Didn't work out. Going to go back and fuck Beverly now. is
well,
that how?
but you also have to keep in mind it's a deleted scene, and in my opinion, unless they release a like director's cut that includes it in the actual, like, because it's kind of like the whole Mantis thing in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, there's a deleted scene in Guardians 2 where where Mantis talks to Star-Lord or talks to somebody about her being his brother, already. But then they revealed it, they revealed it in the holiday special. But it's like, that.
Mhm.
But technically, it was a deleted scene in Guardians 2, so technically, it wasn't canon. I'm always of the thought of that if it's a deleted scene, it's not canon unless it's referenced to directly. So I don't think they mentioned in this episode she went to Starfleet Medical, and she left the Enterprise. I don't think so.
I think they were ambiguous on purpose.
Yeah,
They
and I mean,
care
honestly,
more about,
sometimes that's good. Like, I've
yeah,
come to learn, especially with the MCU, when you're a little bit more ambiguous about things, it's actually very, very good because I make my own headcanon up. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, they both know, Paramount and the MCU know that we're the type of fans who get bogged down in minutia,
yeah.
and we enjoy it. We live for it. So the more they give us, the more we're going to get bogged down in the minutia of back then, and less we're going to be paying attention to the plot that's in front of us now. Another Daniel
Uh,
Vance comment.
Beverly and Picard took shore leave on. Let me see if I don't push this. Casperia Prime, the same planet Dax planned her honeymoon with Worf.
Oh my
Okay.
With the
God.
weather control machines got taken out by the terrorists, and Worf was working with them. Oh boy.
This MFer is 34 years old.
He's almost my age.
Like,
Yeah.
come on, Trek. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How do you get him?
Ridiculous.
I mean, that's as bad as Tobey Maguire playing Spider-Man. He's like a 30-some-year-old playing a high school kid.
Yeah, they could have easily got somebody younger. It's not like there's not younger actors around. They could have got somebody who's 26, 27 to play a 22-year-old. He would have looked more the part than a 34-year-old, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't far off, Zam, when you said 32.
Yeah.
Right. He was closest without going over.
Yeah. Unless
Yeah.
there's some kind of see, but that was my thought originally, is maybe there's some genetics involved. Like maybe the first 7 years of his life were accelerated due to some kind of gene, whatever, blah blah bullshit. I could see that, but it's like, no, it was a natural conception, a natural birth, a natural baby. Like there's no shenanigans about it. So it's like, that's what was my only thing. Is like, well, he looks older, but maybe there's some shenanigans there. But no, it sounds like he was just conceived, birthed, and grew, and now he is a ripe old age of 22 in a 34-year-old year body. Sometimes I feel I'm 10 years older than I'm supposed to be.
Likewise.
Oh yeah, bodies rebelling every day.
All right, I'm sorry, Mage. I know I'm taking up a lot of time today.
That's all good. So after Beverly and Picard talk for a while, Riker and Jack have a conversation outside the room. Jack says that the bigger the legend, the bigger the disappointment, and that might be his reasoning for one of the next revelations we get when Picard and her get cut back to, that not only have various threats been coming to take Jack, and they look different every time, but she gave Picard info to Jack, told him about him, but he chose to not seek out any sort of relationship with his father, and
So
probably to avoid disappointment.
so do you remember the episode where they finally meet each other? I think it was at the end of episode 1 where they finally meet each other, and he like like I didn't get any vibe from Jack that, oh my god, that's my father. Not one vibe whatsoever. If you get what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was yeah. So if you already knew that Picard was his father, it didn't feel like he was. If it didn't feel like he recognized him when he came on his ship with Riker.
It would have
So
worked better without that line, I feel like.
yeah, exactly. But that's what I was thinking the moment they mentioned the fact that he already knew who his father was. So yeah.
But
Well, one quick comment here from Vance. Jack Vision later in the episode give me pause that it was natural. Oh, when he
that
was
it could
visioning
be.
7 and 9.
Yeah, that I'd like to hear you guys' theories about that scene when we get to it, because I've got nothing much so far, but you guys are pretty good with predictions, so I'd like to see your take on it. On the way back to the bridge, Picard's decided that he was wrong and they need to focus on saving as many lives as possible, that he's drugged these people into danger, and he's not wrong. Uh, Riker is, strategically advocating for taking a few moments to go and try to have a conversation with his son, points out that he might regret it later, that you never know. Obviously alluding to the loss of Thaddeus.
Again, heavy-handed moments of
Yeah.
17 seconds later on. As I said, just a little
Yeah.
bit too much. But
He's like, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the foreshadowing was really heavy-handed this episode and was kind of lacking last episode, so maybe try to balance it better.
Yep.
On the bridge, the Shrike has found them inexplicably, and it blasts the hell out of the Titan. Shaw gets severely injured and passes off command to Riker before getting drugged down the hallway to sickbay.
How convenient.
Right?
We've got
So,
another captain on our. We've got not only another captain, we've got an admiral too. We're sorted. We've got a couple of substitutes.
yep, the bench is deep this time. So they come up with a plan. They hatch to execute together almost seamlessly and immediately of dropping a torpedo and detonating it before it hits the Shrike and using the concussive wave to knock it away.
Which I'm going to call the Tuvok maneuver, because Tuvok did that more than once.
More than once, he would do that to get a lot of usage out of the one torpedo because they had their limited quantity.
Oh yeah,
I think
their limited quantity. Like what? I think somebody counted all the torpedoes.
Well, they fired 1,000 plus torpedoes, and they were supposed to have less than 200.
But okay, tangent really quick. But I mean, they can make more torpedoes. You know what I mean? Like it's a photon freaking torpedo. If they get photon, stuff. Like I know I sounded really stupid right there, but like with replicators, you can manufacture more torpedoes.
Takes an equal amount of energy to the matter you're trying to put together.
Yeah.
And they have to burn their antimatter to produce the energy in the warp reactor. So at the end of the day, their ultimate resource limitation was the dark matter and more dilithium crystals, of course. Can't forget about your dilithium.
Right.
I think what made people like Shaw after this episode was 3 particular things. First one was that he knew that his pilots were knackered, and so he gave them some time to rest. Because as arsehole, or as much of an arsehole as he comes across, he still knows certain basic things. Then he didn't let his ego get the better of him, and he immediately gave captaincy to Riker. And the other thing was that he also knew that there was a saboteur on the ship, which is when he spoke to Jack as well. So like those elements kind of made him more appealing in this episode.
And also, I feel like it was very smart of him to turn over captaincy to Riker, because he knew Picard. This is going to be his white whale, like in Star Trek First Contact. Like he knew that Riker would be more would be more vested in his crew's safety than Picard would, because Picard
he's
would
emotionally invested in
yes.
Jack, and Riker can stand back with clarity of distance and be more pragmatic.
Yeah, and I think that's why he made that decision, not the decision that, like, everyone's like, oh well, Riker's a captain, blah blah blah. No, I think Sean knew what he was doing when he transferred it to Riker, not Picard. And the fan service thing would be to turn it over to Picard. Like if they wanted to fan service it because the show's called Picard, turn it over to Picard. Hell no, give it to Riker, because you know what? I want to see Captain Riker. We've barely seen any Captain Riker.
He's also
We've
the
seen
former
more
captain of
the Titan. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like we haven't
captain of
seen
the
that
Titan.
though, besides in Lower Decks. All right, go ahead, Sam.
And by the way, ironically, funny enough, we mentioned Moby Dick, and Patrick Stewart has played Captain Ahab. So yeah,
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So it's good that maybe he didn't get that. So yeah.
So we finally.
Sorry. A couple of one comment here. Jim says Shaw is bleeding and bone poking in his leg. Yeah, mate. Yeah, he got it bad. Yeah, he got it bad.
Injured.
An extraficial bone.
So on Blade Runner planet, Rafi wakes up on Rios' ship, correct? That was
that's Rios' old ship. They're reusing the set from season 2 and 1. They got to do something with it. It's on the lot.
Remind us that it happened somehow.
She was captaining it, but it would always be a nice touch to get Rios back with her activating the holograms.
Yes.
Yeah,
but I really think they didn't want to pay the actor because of all the other actors they're bringing in. Like, let's be real. Like, they're probably spending a shit ton of money bringing all of these actors back. Like, right, Frakes, Spiner, yes, has already been there. Dorn, Sirtis, like all of them, like they're all back, and they're all probably costing a shit ton. That's why they wrote what's her face off, Girardi Queen. Like they kind of wrote her off.
Got Agnes.
But I don't look at necessarily these actors like Rios and Ball Queen Part 2. I don't really look at them as high-paying actors in the first place. I mean, they'll be happy just to have a bloody job in the first place. So anyway, but that was just my opinion on that.
So Rafi wakes up and she tries to get the drop on Master Worf as he's doing his calisthenics, and epically fails. He's listening to opera, which I think is a great touch. He has,
that he's listening to, and I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's the opera. Same opera from Picard in Star Trek Generations. When he's listening to the opera, when after he finds out that his brother and nephew had been burned and wife.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Well, we have a comment here. 1 second. From a Facebook user. Maybe somebody can find out who this person is.
I'm on it. I will find out who it's from.
What do you guys think of the ship Shriek? Well, it looks like a giant sort of spider in space to a degree, and it's got like the Eye of Sauron in the middle of it, shooting out laser beams. It's supposed to look menacing. It's supposed to look like, we're the bad guys. Yeah, the whole appearance of it, and it seems to be taking a leaf out of Nemesis' book by creating this gigantic warship. So
that's actually one of my good friends, Mike. Zam, Mike, not another Mike that we know, but a Mike that I know in real, like, personal life. So
hello, Mike, that I know in personal life. How you doing?
Okay.
And
I'm trying to think about too much detail.
It's wicked. Oh yes. Mike. God damn it.
From Mike and Adam.
Yes. Oh yes. Hello, Mike. Nice to see you. The music's called Mosey Opera, something like that.
I just going back to the Shrike thing. I do want to point out though that it looks incredibly close to a mixture between a Vorlon war cruiser and a Shadow like one of the shadow ships from Babylon 5, like the Vorlons and
It's,
Shadows from Babylon 5.
it's
Looks a
like
lot
the
like
whole
it.
curvature of it. Yeah, it's got those sort of like evil pincers, like I'm going to grab you. You know what I mean? And all of that. So it's got that sinister look about it for sure.
And the
Um,
foghorn.
it, it's a shame that we didn't get much of of what's her face, in this episode. If anything, we didn't get any of her at all, which was a bit of a shame.
Like,
Um,
yeah, very little screen time for her. They're
yeah,
seeming to
for
move on to the true villains really quickly.
yeah. I mean, if this is 10 episodes, yeah, then she'll be like the first half of the season villain before they move on to the next. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Anyway, let's move on.
So we get the chamomile tea joke after Worf's epic introduction speech, which I was glad that he mentioned the Roshenkos. He I always was irked by the fact that Worf never really gave it much credit to his human parents who did all the heavy lifting of raising him and was so obsessed
I
with
was
his
thinking
Klingon
that
parts.
I was thinking that, but once again, when he was talking about his demeanor and stuff like that, I always thought to myself that Wolf never came across. I mean, especially in the latter seasons and in DS9 as well, he never came across as a guy who would just lose his shit on a regular basis. You know, he became from security to commander quite quickly, because he was what you would consider to be a very level-headed Klingon. And I think being brought up by humans as well helped with his development because he became part of his surroundings. So this version of Worf, yeah, I would expect him to maybe go that direction to a degree, but without him necessarily bragging on about being such a. He never said the word pacifist, but almost being like that in the first place. It's weird. It doesn't seem. It doesn't seem right that he has to say that because that's him in a nutshell.
He's a pacifist for a Klingon,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh, Facebook user says, sorry, Mike says, Shriek looks like Nemesis ship. Thought they were bringing a descendant from Nemesis. Well, my money is still on what's her face from Pulp Fiction being Tom Hardy's mum. I think there's still a chance of that. So
No, but that's not. I don't think that's how it went. I thought that Shinzon was grown in a test tube on Romulus. He was a clone of
mm,
Picard.
that's what they might have told Shinzon. They might have told that to Shinzon so that he wouldn't find out that they can retcon it, can't they? Oh,
I
we just told
think they
Shinzon that so
could.
we wouldn't find out that you're the real mother. And
And
all of
Mama's
that, and
angry.
or maybe, yeah, exactly. So he popped out of her, and yeah. And just so you know, Mike, the lady, the bad woman of that Nemesis looking ship, she played Honey Bun in Pulp Fiction. Just so you know. All
um,
right,
so
Christopher Plummer's daughter.
after Worf takes Rafi down a peg, he shares a lead on the person who actually, a lead on somebody who might know who actually stole the tech, and tells her that they're going to go track him down together. His name is Titus Ricca. He's got numerous underworld connections, and he will know who paid off Toluca. Back on the Titan, Jean-Luc and Will start to argue over what kind of stance they should take, if they should go at this offensively, which is Jean-Luc's position, or if they should play defensively and evasively, and that's going to be the Riker maneuver this time, apparently. And we cut to sickbay, where Bev saves Shaw's life from the inept administrations of the ship's doctor, catching some hemorrhaging inside that she didn't catch on an imaging scan. Uh, but as Shaw's getting
I have
treated, he
I
go
have to
for it.
ask you, like, Beverly might be a more experienced doctor, but that Trill, if she has a symbiote, might be a way more experienced doctor, if you know what I mean.
She's
So
probably unjoined,
yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I guess.
since
So,
so few actually get to do the joining.
yeah,
Um, Shaw keeps asking the question, how does she keep finding us? And then Jack, he sees the blood trail and he has the sudden realization moment. And so he's got to go and tell somebody that can do something about it.
The ha-ha!
The
Well,
ha-ha moment, exactly.
or the somebody he believes won't be a saboteur themselves, which is why he went to 7.
Well, he tried to get to the bridge first, but they don't admit him access because of red alert. So he goes to 7, which was a smart move.
So they
How
have
he knows
somebody.
they can trust 7, I don't know.
I never seen anything like that. By the way, like they have a security guard outside the bridge when it's on red alert. That was unusual.
Well, but I
Yes, it
mean,
was.
when they say
They
go to
needed
battle
it.
stations, I mean they could have security officers at each of the turbo lifts. You know, like
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying is it a little excessive? Yes, but
Just read some comments here. Daniel Vance says Worf's been sharpening his teeth. Worf's tooth sharpener was among the items stolen when his quarters were burgled on DS9, compelling him to request to live on the Defiant, the DS9 Bar Association. I had no idea that they would sharpen their fucking teeth. That
oh
just sounds like
yeah,
that sounds like torture. Hello, Mr. Assistant 96. Top of the morning to you. Jim says Jake and 7 figured out there's a leak in engineering, and that's how she's tracking. Yeah.
We'll get
We
there.
yeah, we'll
yeah,
get
we're
there.
getting there. And sorry, let me just hide that one. That's not the one I'm looking for, and that's it. Yeah, sorry, let's move on.
The science officer on the bridge thinks that the nebula is an unknown anomaly, almost like she thinks it's alive with all these bioelectrical signals being in there as well.
Look, but one more. Sorry, more interruptions here. The moment we found out there was a saboteur, and the next thing you know, the captain's talking to the science officer, I immediately thought the science officer's the fucking saboteur. I'm not sure if you guys did.
What?
Well, we found like Jack realizes there's a saboteur, and then we cut to the next scene, which is back on the bridge, and then Riker talks to the science officer, who happens to be a bald Vulcan, by the way.
Yeah, you
And
can't trust a Vulcan without the stereotypical
the bowl cut.
hey, well, Vulcans are known to be saboteurs. We saw that with what's her face in Star Trek 6. So I immediately thought that was the saboteur, but fortunately, I was wrong, and I'm very happy that I was.
The science officer in question advises against going deeper, and Riker decides that they're going to make a break for it. Jack can't get onto the bridge to tell anybody in command, so like we've said, he'll end up going to 7. The Shrike starts using the portal weapon to remaneuver the Titan back into the nebula, which I think was really clever. I thought that was a cool moment. Jean-Luc once again advocates for offense, and Riker once again wants to run. We cut back to Rafi and Worf. They're bickering while they track Titus, who gets body slammed.
No, he gets rock bottomed.
No, it was a choke slam. He lifted that boy up and put him down. Also,
yeah, I guess.
More Trekkier people than I noticed that guy that they were chasing actually played one of Picard's son in Star Trek Generations. He's one of the little kids.
Yep. Yeah. He when he was in the Nexus.
Yep.
One of his fake kids, and he also played a young lad in Voyager as well. But who cares about Voyager, huh?
Yeah. No, who cares about Voyager? Fuck Voyager.
So the Shrike is chasing and beating the Titan back into the nebula, and tensions just continue to rise between Riker and Picard. It's going to have to come to a head soon. Jack goes to 7 with his idea. They're leaving a trail of Vertrium gas, as Jim pointed out.
Is that the first time Vertrium gas has been mentioned in Star Trek?
I don't think so.
I've never heard it, but decades of technobabble.
Yeah, I'll say decades of technobabble.
Yeah, sorry, comments very quickly. Vance says the song 7 is listening to is Verum Corpus has held a true body. by Mozart, and the communion piece to unite Mother Church Borg with Mother Earth Federation. Oh. The changeling being interrogated was played by Thomas Dekker, Picard from Nexus. It was also John. Yeah, he played John Connor in the thingy Bobbies. Yeah, that felt like fucking years
I
ago.
knew he looked. I knew he
Yeah,
looked familiar. I loved Sarah Connor Chronicles.
and thank you, Mike. Thank you, because I like Voyager. For some reason, this guy who calls himself a Star Trek fan doesn't like Voyager, but likes Enterprise, which was shit as fuck. But
Whatever. You
nevertheless,
know
Oh,
what?
nah,
Don't
don't
even
go there on
start.
Enterprise.
4 seasons. 4 seasons. Remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
That
you know what
Yeah.
really killed Star Trek was Voyager, and that's why Enterprise had a rough go about
No,
it. When Enterprise got good in season 3 and 4, that's
they just
when everybody was burnt out. Don't even listen. Maybe debate a mania. Enterprise versus Voyager. I'm telling you.
these things are not gonna matter because you're gonna have your fucking opinion, I'm gonna have mine, and we're not gonna fight. It's not like I'm gonna change your mind that you like a
that's
bullshit show that lasted 4 fucking seasons. I can't change your mind on that, can I? I
we've got
mean,
to
whilst
save
I
this
like a
for
show that
Debate Mania. Then
like
we'll let the
yeah.
audience decide.
Yeah, but what? Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Look, I got I mean, anyway, let's continue with this.
Uh, so Jack, they go to investigate. They find a chamber where the gas is so dense that you need respirators because it's poisonous. Find phaser burns indicating that yes, it was sabotage. They split up, which is always a great idea. The science officer says that there's a gravity well at the center of this anomaly, so that's things just keep getting better and better for the Titan. Jean-Luc wants to use the leak as a diversion and set a trap to loop behind the Shrike. Riker wants to use the diversion as an opportunity to just get away because she doesn't know that they know how she's following them. The tensions continue to rise. The saboteur viciously attacks Jack and leaves him for dead, but not before Jack gets in a counterpunch that goes right through him, the liquidy face shimmering like a changeling. Back to Rafi
Yeah,
and Worf, who play bad
that.
cop, good cop, but not in the configuration you would have expected before this season started. Uh, a fun scene. Uh, he's
Oh,
have
I mean, I had no idea that guy was a changeling as well, but yeah, he looked like a crackhead. He was acting like a crackhead
right. He acted
the,
like he was
the whole
having
time, but
withdrawals.
really, he was going through changeling
I as
constipation.
as it went along, because there was an episode where Odo was not able to, and I don't remember the name of the episode. Daniel Vance will probably know the name of the episode,
Is it
where Luoxana Troy
the
and Odo were
elevator?
stuck in the turbo lift, and he was like fighting so hard not to change back, and like I kind of got those vibes from there, and then when the changeling thing happened, I was kind of like, oh shit. So
Uh,
So
Worf kind of. Oh, sorry, Zam. Go ahead.
just mentioning here, like, don't give her an extra. He's going on about Janeway. I love Janeway too. I'm actually hoping we do see Janeway in this show. I thought there could be a place for her. It cameo role, of course. The changeling planted an A bomb on the warp drive manifold, and it blew up, and the ship lost its warp drive.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Um, Jason Eastman's still better than whatever that DS9 got. Ha ha ha! Laugh out loud. Yeah, you tell him, Mike. Is Jack the son of Locutus as well as Picard? Connect the branches, find me. Felt very bored, like Jurati with tentacles in the last season. Oh, mate, you're getting too deep here, man. Too
I couldn't make out that
unnecessarily.
dialogue that connect the branches, so I'm glad that Daniel Vance pointed out what it was. Um, so, yeah, what did you guys think of the speech that Worf tried to act like he was giving to Titus, but was actually for Rafi's benefit? Did you guys get that vibe too? That this
I mean,
speech was
kind
for
of.
Rafi's benefit?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still on a touch and go with the whole Worf and Rafi thing. I don't,
Well, Ruff is more palatable now. Wolf is with her. Yeah, I
Yes,
mean,
exactly.
yeah, because I think honestly, like the character of Ruffy just doesn't seem to be that interesting. But now you got Worf. Yeah, I'm all right now. Okay, I don't mind the
Well,
Raffi scenes
because you have her
anymore.
counterpoint. When she was by herself, it was kind of like angry Raffi mad at the computer screen. Like she's like every other gamer in the late '90s, early 2000s. You know, like, but now it's like, yeah, I mean, you know, Raffi now bounces off of Worf as an actual person, and that definitely makes her more palatable. So
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll have a original story for Rafi finally, and not just a rehash
No,
of the first season.
no, no. It's like the funny thing is that we were mainly on the Titan for this episode, and then when we jumped to Raffi, I thought, no, get with the Titan. I don't give a fuck about the subplot. But then I saw Worf, and I thought, oh, all right, then no problem. We can stick with Raffi now. So yeah, Facebook user says Godhood. Sorry, Mike says Godhood. Yes,
no,
Godhood, the hood of God. Cisco achieved godhood in the Star Trek universe. Yes, he did. Yeah, that's why I like Star Trek 5 so much because it kind of proved that God doesn't exist. But anyway, well, that's another topic.
or he just exists as an extra dimensional entity.
Yeah, in the
Uh,
parallel universe,
yeah,
hopefully.
you kind of backed yourself in a corner on that one there, big guy. Sorry.
Yeah,
Now
I
that
don't
that
know.
that
I
thing
don't
in the
know what that
center of
means.
the galaxy was not a god, like it was literally an entity. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it was.
Shakari.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep going.
No, so Jack, while he's dying, has this hallucination. I have no theories. I like Daniel Vance's one where maybe there's Borg connection. Do you
Oh,
guys
I
have
get
any
what you're saying
theories
now.
about what this
I don't know, but when
is
I
saying?
hallucinate, I see 7 of 9 too. Jeremy Ryan, yummy. Or Jerry Ryan, sorry. Yummy.
Well, I don't know. Like, I just thought to myself, he's been breathing in a lot of that fucking gas. He doesn't know where the fuck he is. 7-9 obviously saves him,
Right.
so he's mixing gas hallucination with reality, and that's what he got. You know, that's how I never looked at it any more than that. I mean, the fact that he was under the influence of that gas, which is why I thought he was hallucinating in the first place. I
Well,
never
but
thought
here's
it
the
was.
thing: they
Yeah,
wouldn't put that in there unless it meant something, like the way
A
they did
show
it.
like this,
Yeah,
it has to be some deeper secret thing we find out later.
yeah.
or I'm hoping it's not actually because it'll probably the payoff won't probably be that rewarding.
You're
Yeah,
giving them way too much credit, Sam. You're giving the
yeah,
producers way too much credit. Uh,
fair enough.
so we have Picard's 17-second moment here. And of course, Jack doesn't
Another one.
actually die. They wouldn't do that. For a second,
Dude,
I
that would have
thought they
been
would.
ballsy though.
It
Holy
would have. It would have been awesome. They would have been
I don't
giving him
know.
so much plot development, and
No,
all the
I'm glad they
investment they
no no
put into him.
no. I'm glad they didn't do that because that would have been exactly like Kirk and David, and we don't need another one of that. You know, what I mean, where Kirk finds out he's finally got a fucking son after he's already grown up, and then he dies before he had the chance to even fucking know him. We don't need that again. I'm glad they didn't do that.
Okay, fine, but still, I'm not on board with the Picard son thing. I think that is
I hope that he's not actually his son, and we're going to get
no, it's
that's
his
the actual
son.
twist.
Yeah, I think it is. I think
Oh
that's where they're
man,
going.
man, that would be horrible on Picard to find out that's not his kid. No, no, no. That's yeah.
I think what they're doing here is that this is the way they're going to continue the show. I think that if they decide to continue Picard, I know they say it's the final season, but even Kirksman and the other producers have come out and said, well, it doesn't mean it's the actual final season. Like we might be able to get, but this is like the final season with Jean-Luc Picard and like the TNG cast and stuff like that. So there's room for it to continue just with this is their setup is like new Picard, young Picard, 34-year-old, 22-year-old Picard.
Yeah, they're gonna get Picard season 4. We're gonna call it Picard, but it'll be Jack. You know, swashbuckling Jack.
At the
You know what I mean?
at
Like
the
a
end,
Han
he's going to
Solo
go
medic.
at the end, he's going to go out in the middle of the desert. He's going to bury Jean-Luc's comm badge, and then somebody's going to be like, "Hey, who are you?" And then he's going to get up and be like, "My name is Jack
Jack
Picard."
Card.
No,
I'll be
So
ripping my hair out.
So okay, look. Personally, I really genuinely hope that it is just the fucking that varium gas or whatever the fuck it's called, which made him hallucinate. But if it is something else, it better fucking pay off. That's all I'm saying.
They are the way they did it. It's not just a hallucination. It's not. It wouldn't have been 7 of 9 saying something. He would have just been hallucinating, and you would have like seen like it would have been fuzzy and. But they the way they purposefully, and then the door, like what, like they're doing something with that shit, and I don't care honestly.
Sorry, Zam. They've had visions in every season, every series.
Yeah, including Voyager. You know, Chakotay has them. Akuchi Moya, the land of my ancestors.
There's a saying among my people. They should have
All
hired
right.
an actual native.
Right?
Okay. Well, look. I'm glad we're talking about this. We'll see how this pans out because it could easily be thrown away by saying, "Oh, those visions you got, all that varium gas you fucking been breathing in, and boom, it's over, and we'll never have to fucking talk about it again." Or it could be something else. So we'll see what pans out.
So we already talked about the reveal that Titus is actually a changeling. Changelings are behind this threat. And that, yes, Cheeto, you're correct. It was a diversion, the portal tech, to distract us from what they actually stole. That's the big threat, probably Lore and Moriarty.
Yeah. But then who's behind that? Like that's the question at this
rogue
point.
changeling faction, I guess.
Moriarty.
But how?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I know Moriarty is but I know Moriarty was a hindrance, but to make him a threat, I know like the character of Moriarty in the real world would be a very dangerous person to contend with. At the end of the day, he's just a fucking hologram.
Yeah, but
you know,
the compute the problem was is that the computer made him something that can adapt to Data's level of intelligence. So essentially, it made a self-aware hologram computer that is as smart as Data, and if not smarter. And granted, yes, the way and the way that they beat him in the end was a bit stupid because it's like you feel like Moriarty would have figured it out, but still,
they tricked him.
Yeah, but still, so it's like I don't know.
All I'm saying is that he better get himself a fucking holo emitter because whilst he's just a hologram, I don't really see him being too much of an issue unless they write him into to be an issue. But
I think they're gonna
need to get.
I think they're going to bring the mobile emitter into it. I really do. I feel like he's going to have the mobile emitter. We're going to see Robert Picardo somewhere in here, like the mobile emitter getting stolen by changelings, and
the thing is, he's then if he at the same time he's got to be like as much as of a genius that he is, he's of a genius of a Victorian age. You know, this is like the 24th century or whatever. Like, you know, he and everyone in this era are fucking quantum physicists. You know, I mean, you know, like, you know, I'm going to school and I'm going to learn quantum mechanics. You know before.
But he was self-aware that, like, he was a computer that was self-aware that he's in the 24th century.
He was a computer that was able to be
or 23rd century.
Yeah, but he was a computer that was able to access the computer itself. But now
exactly, so he knew everything that was there to be known in the Starfleet database because the central. So I mean, yes, Moriarty was just a hologram, but in a technical aspect, he was Moriarty. You're right. If he just thought he was still Moriarty from like the 1800s, you know, or 1700s, whatever it was, then yes, you're right. But he didn't. He knew that he was a hologram. He knew that he was in the 23rd century and now 24th. Or 25th. Where are we at? We're in the 24th.
Early 25th.
Yeah. Whilst he was in the holodeck, he had controls over the computer. If he does get a mobile emitter and ends up leaving the fucking holodeck, then he doesn't have that same power and control. You know what I mean? He just
they could deploy his program as a computer virus though, and then gain control of other computer systems.
Okay. Oh look, let's just read some of these comments here. 9 out of 10 agree. The visions mean something. Zam is you're damn fucking right. You're damn.
Zam is normally the 10th nerd.
I honestly, I really don't give a. I don't want these visions to mean shit.
Oh, I don't want them
Because
to
I
mean
don't.
shit either. I think it's
No,
stupid.
Yeah.
it is.
So let's just hope that, that me being in the minority and not just in skin tone will fucking make sure that I'm right on this particular occasion. I pray to fucking whatever that I am. Lower Decks was
You
your
played to
hint.
Shakari.
Yes, last season ended with a bunch of evil AI coming together. Yeah, but that's Lower Decks. Anyway, let's move on.
On the bridge of the on the Titan, the saboteur sets up a bomb in the middle of Worf's exposition about the Changeling faction. Right, there's an explosion uh, that takes them out of warp right after Riker orders the retreat when their trail of gas ends. Jean-Luc finally convinces him to go on the offensive, and it bites them in the ass as
Literally.
the Shrike fires their own torpedoes using the portal right up their rear end. They're dead in the water, sinking into the gravitational anomaly at the center of this. And Riker tells him to remove himself from the bridge. You've gotten us all killed.
Yeah, one thing I have to come to think of all of this is that why the hell was there a saboteur in the Titan in the first place?
Well, that's because we don't know what the final goal is. Like originally, even Crusher said that. Dr. Crusher said it earlier. She said, "I don't think this is about Jack. Like
About Jean-Luc.
it's about Jean-Luc." But they don't play it as if it's about Jean-Luc. So I'm kind of at a loss as to what now. It might be just that it was bad writing, like, and they just it is about Jean-Luc, but they didn't make it seem like that, like, and like it didn't like dawn on us afterward or something.
It's always about fucking Jean-Luc. It's his show. It's called Picard. It's gonna be about him, isn't it? You know. So
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably like they're like, but they didn't seem that interested in Jean-Luc. You know what I mean? Like, is that why they were chasing him because they knew it was his son?
But if you dial everything back to prior to any of this shit happening, it makes no sense for a fucking saboteur to be on the Titan. Makes no sense at all. You know what I
The
mean?
Titan was on normal stuff. It was never going to encounter Jack Crusher until
and
Jean-Luc
that's
Riker
a
got on.
lot of happy little coincidences got it to where it was.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
So that was the episode. We've discussed a good bit. Do you guys have anything to add before we mark it?
All I want to do is I just want to add that I do not like the last line in this episode. You know, remove yourself from the bridge. You have killed us all. I feel like that was out of character for Riker. Like,
absolutely.
I could see him saying remove yourself from the bridge, but for him to take a jab like that, saying you have just killed us all or something like that, I feel like that's not.
But he's mad at Jean-Luc right now because Jean-Luc crossed the line with that one speech. He was trying to give his classic speech and it backfired. He crossed the line this time.
They were bickering back and forth about what the right course of action was. At the same time, Jonathan Frakes, who's the director of this episode, who knows these characters better than anybody else, I'm surprised he made that portray itself the way it did in this episode. So
I think what the show wants us to think right now is that this might be an irreparable breach of their friendship if they do make it out of this alive. Is their relationship in jeopardy? And I really hope they don't do that, but I'm scared they might.
Well, I'm hoping it kind of puts their professional relationship at jeopardy. I don't think it really their personal relationship. I don't think, but like their professional relationship. You ever have that where it's like you're finally the like you ever have that part where like you're finally the boss and then somebody who used to be your boss works under you, and they keep on undermining you right in front of everybody.
Gave me a literal nervous breakdown.
Yeah, like that. And I mean, it's like this person's, but Jean-Luc was not in Picard, was not in command. He was definitely, he technically wasn't even the first officer.
No.
Technically. So it's like, I mean, but, I don't know. I just thought that last line was a bit overkill and forced, where it's like
a lot of heavy-handedness and forced stuff this episode.
honestly, I feel like it would have had more weight if he would have looked back at Picard with a like with a what's the word I'm looking for? A like not a let down look, but like a disappointed look, and saying, "Please, like, remove yourself from the bridge now." You know, you don't even have to put the "you just killed us all." Like, yeah, no, we got that hint. Thanks. You know, like I feel like if they would have just done the whole "you need to remove yourself from my bridge now," I feel like with the right look with Riker to Picard, we would have gotten even more weight. I feel like because it would have been
Frakes
a
could have sold
disappointed
that
look.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zam, final thoughts from you, sir?
Yeah, that I like the fact that Picard was so determined that his plan was going to work, and he pushed Will to a degree to make him go with his plan, and it didn't work, and it was great, seeing that twist, instead of maybe Picard, like maybe his plan did work, and then everyone's hunky dory, and he saved the day. I mean, that would have been a very cliched way of doing things, and the fact that they didn't go down that route made it even better than I expected it to be. They are really fucked now, and to see them stranded in space with their ship blown up to not smithereens, but is heavily fucked. And who knows, maybe the Titan might not survive this series. I mean, it is the Titan. I mean, a ship like that for me is expendable. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I like how it panned out at the end. It was very good. Not sure if I'm necessarily happy with Riker like burying Picard in front of all the other people like that, but still, it was very good.
So Daniel
Just a
Vance has
couple
an
of
interesting comment before we rank it away. Daniel Vance says, "What if Riker isn't Riker? He's reason his. I'm thinking that's his reasons family. He's not heard him say anything that only Riker would know. He is handed the command. He refuses to fight. He's kicked Picard off the bridge. I don't blame him for kicking Picard off the bridge. Like,
He did fight though. He did fight at the end. He got pushed into it.
yeah, I know, but he fought with fought tooth and nail. Um, yeah, I no, and as I said, Riker was always okay with being the subordinate back on the Enterprise because, well, he was a subordinate. But now it's like Riker's been in command. He knows command, and now like Picard is, sitting there just etching away at
Undermining
him.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
undermining him
front
and
of the
etching away at
crew.
him. So
Yeah.
I know I really feel like this was a very natural like progression of two alpha male, like alpha captains, kind of button heads. So I
I'm
wouldn't
not.
say Riker's and I'm
Yeah.
probably this will probably age poorly, but I would say Riker is not a changeling. Like your comment about what
No,
if Riker isn't Riker.
yeah. There's
I
comments like the way he spoke to Picard about knowing that could be his son and stuff like that. I mean, if
I've been
if he
watching
is,
that cook.
yeah,
Yeah.
watching all of that, the way he spoke to Jack and all of that, I'm not so sure to tell you the truth. I mean, if he is, great twist. I mean, we've already seen a changeling on this already, so I feel like that twist is already let out the bag, unless there is obviously another one. Big Nine all the way. I didn't like Picard and Riker fighting. It's not like them.
Well, that's like watching
Um,
your parents
People
fight. I mean,
change.
yeah, it's like
yeah,
watching your
It's been
parents
a
fight.
long
You don't want to
time.
watch them fight.
yeah, exactly. Picard and Riker, they've been through so much, but everyone fights with each other. Exactly, and like their positions and their relationships different now. Like Riker is no longer an understudy. He's got a lot of experience under his belt, and he's a captain as well. I mean, he needs to be treated like he knows his shit. And Picard undermined him, and because of that, they're in more trouble than they have been. And in hindsight, Riker was right. They should have just, when they had the opportunity to get the fuck out of there and run, they should have, and they didn't. Roy Ivy, maybe it was a performance of the saboteur's benefit to misdirect. Otherwise, it's out of character. I mean, yeah, the misdirection does seem to be. And welcome to the stream, Roy. Misdirection does seem to be one of the sort of plays in this particular season of Picard. We saw that already regarding the destruction of that Starfleet base it was just a misdirection for whoever it may be to steal other stuff. So yeah, that is definitely something that's on the cards. I mean, even the portals themselves, they represent misdirection, don't they? Yeah, I mean, so
Well, here's the thing: that it's not like the portal on the Shrike is the only one. Like, I mean, because think about it, things were going on in Picard, like, on the Titan and in the Nebula
Yeah.
and stuff like that, while the Shrike was there. But then on Metalka, whatever it's called, that planet
Metalis
where
Prime.
yeah, it. But there was also a portal weapon there, so it's not like it's like the
The only
Shrike was
one.
like there doing that and then was here. It's like, no, these things are happening simultaneously. So I mean, there's more than one portal weapon. I think they're just using the portal weapon as a misdirect. Like, as you guys were saying, like, it's a distraction for Lauren Moriarty coming back. I swear to God, if it's not Sela, I'm gonna riot.
well, at the same time, they don't want to destroy the Titan. I mean, the Titan should realize that by now. Like they want Jack Crusher, and they don't want to kill the Saboteur as well, who's on their ship because he's part of their team.
But how does that benefit them at all? Now they're falling towards a singularity, and they're going to be destroyed anyway.
Well,
If they don't want the Titan to be destroyed, if they don't want Picard or Jack Crusher or whatever's on the Titan,
they're gonna get tractor beam, dude, and like
no. That's what I'm saying though. Like, why is this like a cliffhanger? You're right. They don't want to destroy the Titan, so we know they're going to. The Shrike will pull them out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So there's so much to it, and there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. Like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, literally, because we still don't know what the end game is regarding all of this. There's more to it, and now we've seen the portal technology being used by the Shrike, and we saw it obviously used in the terrorist attack. You can see that there's a correlation there, so there is some sort of connection between that storyline and this storyline, because there are two totally different storylines at this moment. The storyline of the subplot of Raffi and Worf, and this. I mean, right now you don't feel there's any connection between the two storylines until we saw that portal technology from the Shrike. So yeah. So
also, we haven't seen Geordie LaForge at all.
Not yet, but it's good to we're gonna get drips and drabs.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying we need to. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, no. Like, how's he going to come into play? I mean, you know what I mean. I wonder if he's already involved.
Like, tow them out.
I need to save my baby. I mean, my baby's in jeopardy, and he goes there.
My thing is I wonder if he's already involved. Like, I wonder if he was at Daystrom or something like that. And the scene in the trailer where he looks through the corridor and it's Lore, and he's like, Lore. Like, I wonder if LaForge is already in play. We just haven't seen him yet. Like Lore has him or something like that.
Well, maybe he teams up with Worf and Deanna and all the others, who haven't joined up yet, and then catches up with Picard that way. Let's get the gang back together again. And knowing that his daughter's on that ship as well will give him more reason than ever to want to save everyone. So.
You know what could have worked with the Tuvok maneuver, which I know they didn't have time to like react to it, but it's like, if they use a Tuvok maneuver while they're shooting torpedoes and it's going into that portal, if they shoot the torpedoes right before they enter the portal, would it destabilize the portal and send a backlash into the projector device, and they could have like disabled it?
That sounds really Trek. I'd buy that.
That's right. A tactical officer, baby. Hire me, Starfleet.
Wesley Crusher, if you're out there, visit your mother, bad traveler. Yeah, you know what? Wesley Crusher needs to do some of that. Needs to do some of that time traveling shit. It's not just his brother, his mother. He's got his fucking brother out there as well. And Roy Ivy said Picard's aggressive choice was not necessarily on Riker's tactics. Was not working either.
He spelled Riker like my puppy Riker.
I look at it as like. I look at it as that they were both looking at, once they got their opportunity to go one way or the other, And I think Picard just basically forced Riker's hand and said, "Look, we can take these motherfuckers out." But then he ended up having egg on his face, and Riker never had the opportunity to escape when he had the chance. I mean, unless
I
if he
don't
did
think
try
he
to
ever had
escape,
the
maybe
chance to escape, honestly.
No.
yeah. But their warp drive was fucked, wasn't it? And once
Yeah.
once they started repairing things, I believe, and they not dealt with the saboteur, but they made everyone realize there is a saboteur. Anyway, we still have something coming in holodeck 10 forward coming with safety protocols off according to the outro. Okay, I haven't seen elements of.
We're just gonna get a whole holodeck episode, is what we're gonna get. It's gonna be the Moriarty episode. It's all on a holodeck.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
marks,
exactly.
gentlemen. Sam,
I'm
we'll start
giving
with you.
this. I enjoyed this episode. I felt, like I said, I did like the fact that Picard constant bickering backfired on him, and we didn't get the cliche of I was right all along. All that bollocks. It backfired on him, and he had proper egg on his face, and the crew are in more jeopardy because of what he decided to do than they would ever know if they went down Riker's route. So I like that a lot. That just added more. That was really good. And just the whole cat and mouse thing, which you do see in Star Trek, in some of the more in the feature films and the television shows. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
All right, Cheeto.
I am giving it a 9 out of 10 because Changelings and fucking Mutara Nebula better than Mutara Nebula. Just saying. And the Tuvok maneuver. Like, the only good character on Voyager was Tuvok, so I love Tuvok. I want Tim Russ to come back.
So just a bit more. Actually, I'm so glad you reminded me of that, because the fact that there's still remnants of the Dominion War which hasn't been concluded, and there are obviously changelings out there who do hate the fucking Federation, and I like the fact that that they're still going after the Federation. I mean, as far as they're concerned,
it's just a section of changelings. It's not the whole.
Yeah. I know. That's what I said. I said there are still changelings out. I just say there's still changelings out there who probably hate the Federation still, and I'm glad it hasn't. Because of them being such powerful entities, I'm very happy that they're still having another shot at it, and I like the fact that this element from DS9 is now being used in TNG to a degree in Picard. So yeah, I'm very happy with this. I might even give it a 9. You know what? I'm going to change my mark from 8 to 9. I put 8 on my thingy, but actually, after what I just said, there definitely
8 and 9 are in the same thing. So I mean, it still.
Yeah, counts. Fair enough. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I already read that. Hello, Jim. Hello, Dave. All right. Yeah. What about you, Mage?
I'm going to give it a 9 as well. I think it might be my favorite episode of Picard so far. This is along the lines of what they initially promised us, like a thoughtful, character-driven, piece where they'll get to show off their acting chops. But we got that. We got great classic Trek cat and mouse, like you guys have pointed out. It's, just great Trek. I mean, we're using a great enemy that hasn't been run into the ground in the form of the renegade changelings. There were hand-fisted and heavy-handed parts, especially with the foreshadowing, and that could have been alleviated some by a different episode title. But minute criticisms, and just I guess maybe I've had a chance to adjust to Picard's particular flavor of Trek, and just start to overlook the things that are just inherently new Trek about it. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this discussion. I appreciate your time. Thanks to everybody in the audience, especially our folks in the chat who came to engage with us tonight. It wouldn't be the same without you. Yes, Cheeto.
Just wanted to put out there, we do have a fan film reaction coming out tomorrow. It is pre-recorded, but it will premiere, so we'll be in the chat. But we watched a Mandalorian type-ish fan film. It's not about the man, like it's not like based on Din Djarin, but there is a Mandalorian. Well, there's two actually Mandalorians in it. So guys, tune in for that. We're trying to take advantage of the hype of Mandalorian coming back. So we have a Mandalorian fan film. We're going to try to do a little bit more themed here and there. So
Nice.
definitely check that out tomorrow. I want to say it's at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as I said, hopefully a couple of us here on the channel will be able to be in the chat to kind of, discuss things as we go along.
Okay, awesome. Anything else big coming down the pipe that we should let them know about?
Really just, next week I don't think we have anything this weekend, like in particular. Like, of course, if we have trailers or anything like that, Zam's your baby for that. He loves doing all that shit.
Yeah.
But next week, Last of Us, Quantum Leap. I think, Zam, do you have a Bad Batch review coming out, or have you not gotten around?
Yeah, I'm really sorry, guys. I just been feeling a little bit of burnout, which is why I haven't done the most recent episode of Bad Batch. But I'll try and get that done over the weekend if I get a chance.
Zam, you're a freaking workhorse, man. You deserve to take a break.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you very much. But yeah, all the other shows that we tend to review, we are reviewing. So keep an eye out for stuff like Last of Us, Quantum Leap, Mandalorian, as well as obviously Picard and any other series and stuff that I might have binged. I'm going to watch 1883 very shortly, and once I finish binging that, I'm going to give you my opinions on that as well. I watched 1923, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, these are stories from the Yellowstone universe, which is really fucking good. It's like the modern day version of Dallas. That's how I look at it. So watch all that stuff if you like more adult orientated television shows. Those are definitely the ones to watch. I don't know what the hell's happened to Cheeto.
We lost Cheeto.
He lost the will to live, I guess. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, awesome. Sounds like lots of good stuff coming down the pipe. So definitely want to make sure you like this video. If you liked what you saw here tonight, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to see the content we have coming down the pipe. And if you want to make sure you get the notifications, make sure you hit that bell icon. We all know how the logarithm can be. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I've been Major Rage. This has been Zam and Cheeto for NerdTube, the best channel that you've maybe sort of kind of heard of. May the force be with you.